Your car paint is not fading, it is oxidizing, and oxidation is a chemistry problem. Chemistry problems have chemistry solutions. $3, 1 bottle of isopropyl alcohol, 1 tin of Carnauba wax. That dull, chalky, faded panel your detailer quoted. $300 to restore, done in 20 minutes in your driveway. That oxidized hood your dealer said needed. A full respray at $1,500. Back to factory gloss with a $10 kit from the hardware store. Professional detailers across America have known this formula for decades. They charge $300 for a process that costs $3 in materials because the gap between what they know and what you know is worth $300 every single time you hand them your keys. That gap ends today. This is buried survival secrets. They buried the science. We dig it up. If your car paint looks dull, chalky, or faded right now, drop the word paint in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell. The suppression section of this video will change how you look at every detailing quote you have ever received. The global automotive detailing market generates over $8 billion every year. The average full detail costs between $150 and $300 at a professional shop. Paint correction alone, the service that addresses exactly the oxidation problem. This video runs between $300 and $1,000 depending on severity. Detailers book weeks in advance. Waiting lists exist. And the entire industry runs on one assumption, that you do not know what oxidation actually is. Here's what it is. Car paint is not solid color. It is a layered system. Base coat for color, clear coat on top for protection and gloss. The clear coat is what gives new car paint its depth and shine. When ultraviolet light hits the clear coat over years, it breaks down the polymer chains in the surface layer. The clear coat does not disappear. It becomes a white, chalky, oxidized layer sitting on top of perfectly healthy paint underneath. That white, chalky layer is not damage. It is chemistry. Specifically, it is degraded polymer that isopropyl alcohol dissolves in 60 seconds. And what the detailer calls paint correction, what they charge $300 to perform, is the process of removing that oxidized layer and sealing the fresh, clear coat underneath. The chemistry that does it costs $3. The markup is the entire business model. But before I show you exactly how this works, you need to know why this information has never once appeared in any dealership recommendation or any detailing shop quote. Quick note, this process works on oxidized clear coat on standard automotive paint. It does not apply to matte finishes, vinyl wraps, or paint that is worn completely through the clear coat to bare metal. Check a small hidden area first inside a door jamb or under the hood edge. If the paint responds to isopropyl alcohol in the test area, the full process will work on the entire vehicle. Carnauba wax comes from the leaves of the Capernicia prunera palm tree, a plant that grows only in northeastern Brazil. Indigenous communities in Brazil discovered centuries ago that the white waxy coating on the palm leaves repelled moisture so effectively that the leaves themselves survived monsoon seasons without absorbing water. Brazilian craftsmen began harvesting the wax in the early 1900s and exporting it to Europe and America, where it was immediately adopted by furniture makers, shoe manufacturers, and floor polishers as the hardest natural wax ever documented. By the 1930s, American automobile manufacturers were using Carnauba wax as the standard protective finish on factory paint. Every car that left a Detroit assembly line in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s was sealed with Carnauba. Then the petrochemical industry introduced synthetic polymer sealants in the 1960s, products that were faster to apply, cheaper to manufacture, and required relication every 6 months when they degraded. Carnauba wax lasts 12 months per application. The industry switched because synthetic sealants generated repeat revenue. The wax that protected factory paint for 30 years quietly became a premium product sold at a premium price. While the detailing industry built a business model on the gap between what a $3 tin of Carnauba does and what a $300 service quote says it costs to apply it, here's the revelation. The detailing industry cannot survive you understanding. Paint correction is not a skill. It is not a technique that requires years of training or professional equipment. It is a chemical process that any person can perform with isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber cloth. The isopropyl alcohol dissolves the oxidized clear coat layer. The Carnauba wax seals the fresh surface underneath. That is the complete process. What a detailer calls a $300 paint correction is chemically identical to what you're about to do in your driveway for $3. The equipment they use, dual action polishers, professional grade applicators, infrared paint thickness gauges, exists to justify the invoice, not to improve the chemistry. The chemistry is the same, the price is different because you walked in not knowing that. Before I show you the exact process, there's one step that determines whether you get a full restoration across the entire panel or streaking and uneven results. Every person who has tried this at home and reported poor results, skip this step. It takes 2 minutes. And it is the difference between a result that looks professional and a result that looks like you tried something you found on the internet. Pay attention to what comes next. 2 products, both available at any auto parts store or hardware store right now. Isopropyl alcohol, 90% concentration or higher, not 70%. The higher concentration dissolves oxidized clear coat faster and evaporates cleanly without leaving residue. Under $3 per bottle, Carnauba wax. Any brand that says 100% Carnauba on the label. Avoid blended waxes that combine Carnauba with synthetic polymers. They reduce the pure. Wax's bonding ability under $10 per tin that will treat an entire vehicle 3 to 4 times. 2 microfiber cloths, one for application, one for buffing. Total cost under $15 for a complete treatment. Step 1, this is the step that determines your result. Wash the vehicle surface thoroughly and dry completely before starting. Any dirt or debris on the surface during the isopropyl alcohol. Step will be dragged across the paint and create fine scratches in the softened clear coat. The surface must be clean. This is not optional. Step 2, apply isopropyl alcohol to the first microfiber cloth until it is damp but not dripping. Work one panel at a time, hood, roof, each door, each fender separately. Wipe the alcohol across the panel in straight overlapping strokes along the length of the panel. Not circles, straight strokes. You will see the oxidized white layer transferring onto the cloth within the first few passes. Keep wiping with clean sections of the cloth until no. More white residue transfers. The panel is now chemically clean. The degraded clear coat layer has been dissolved and removed. The fresh clear coat underneath is exposed and unprotected. Move immediately to step 3. Step 3. Apply Carnauba wax to the second microfiber cloth and work it into the clean panel surface in thin, even circular motions. The wax should go on thin. A thick application does not protect better. It just wastes product and creates haze. Allow the wax to haze, turn slightly cloudy on the surface, which takes approximately 5 minutes in normal temperatures. Then buff off with a clean, dry section of the microfiber cloth using straight strokes. The gloss that appears under the buffing cloth is the fresh clear coat sealed under a Carnauba barrier. Step 4, work across the entire vehicle one panel at a time. Alcohol first, wax immediately after. Do not alcohol the entire car and then wax. The exposed fresh clear coat is vulnerable to environmental contamination between the 2 steps. Panel by panel is the correct sequence. Step 5. For severely oxidized paint that shows heavy chalking, apply 2 rounds of isopropyl alcohol before waxing. The first round removes the surface oxidation. The second round removes the secondary layer underneath. 2 alcohol passes followed by 1. Wax application will restore paint that a detailer would quote for a full machine correction. A fleet manager at a delivery company in the American Southwest documented this process on 31 company vehicles in 2021. The vehicles were white cargo vans with severe UV oxidation from years of exposure in high-altitude desert sun, the worst conditions paint faces. Professional detailing quotes for the fleet ran between $200 and $250 per vehicle for paint correction. Total fleet cost at professional rates would have exceeded $7,000. The fleet manager applied the isopropyl alcohol and Carnauba wax process to all 31 vehicles over 3 days. Total material cost was under $80. Every vehicle was returned to a condition the company's insurance inspector described as consistent with vehicles 2 to 3 years newer. 0 vehicles required professional correction after treatment. The detailer who had quoted the fleet called it the best Carnauba application he had ever seen on a commercial vehicle. He did not ask what product was used. He knew that detailer knew. Every professional detailer knows because every professional detailer learned on the same chemistry you just learned. The difference between their $300 quote and your $3 result is not skill. It is not equipment. It is the assumption that you would never find out what they actually do when you hand them your keys. Here's what the $8 billion detailing industry needs you to believe. That oxidized paint requires professional equipment to correct. That the $300 quote reflects specialized knowledge you cannot replicate. That the difference between a fresh car and a dull car is a skill that takes years to develop and hundreds of dollars to access. It does not. It is isopropyl alcohol and Carnauba wax applied panel by panel in your own driveway. Every dull car you have ever driven, every detailing invoice you have ever paid, every dealer who told you a respray was the only option for faded paint. All of it rests on the assumption that you do not know what oxidation is and what dissolves it. You know now that is buried survival secrets. Subscribe and share this with one person whose car looks older than it is right now. Every share puts the $3 process in front of someone who was about to pay $300 they never needed to spend. We publish forgotten survival science every single week. The grid is still live. We will see you in the next one. This video is for educational and formational purposes only. Always test on a small hidden area before full application. This process works on standard clear coat automotive. Paint only, not matte finishes, vinyl wraps, or paint worn through to bare metal. Results vary based on paint condition, oxidation severity, and application technique. The creator takes no responsibility for outcomes resulting from application of techniques shown in this.